So for this video, I'll be going through the details of my blueprints and code. This is my actually second video because the first video took 20 minutes long and I was just been going through everything really quickly. So this time it's going to be even more quicker. I won't be going through the map and the tile set thing because that was explained in the other videos. So for this video, I'll just be focusing on the character and the sprite codes. So for my sprites, we have a default character as his parent class, and all of the drunk item normal security guard type are all the child class of that which extends him. There's actually I think 4 systems that which summarize up my parent class actor. One being the move system, one being the action system, health system, and the hitbox system. Let's start with the move system. First, in event begin play, we have the get game mode and promote that to variable, get user widget to set the HUD. Set the mini HUD, which is like a health bar that's on top of all the players. For movements, we have 4 movement inputs. Instead of using the axes input, because I found out that was kind of not really smooth as this, I'll be explaining more in the documentation. What it's doing right here is I have a move stack field, and each time the actions getting came through, it adds the relative name or enum of that direction and adds it to the move stack, and once it releases, it also removes it from the move stack and sets the movement. Each time the set movement is called, it checks whether the stack is empty. If the stack is empty, that means we know no one's held down any buttons and it should be idle. And if anything's in the stack, then we know that there's a current action and we should move it. Before we get into set current action, over here is just all the other action input that we can currently give, such as the pickup, attack, and lie down. The stand is for when the character is dead, and after it's revived, it can stand back up. As you can see, all of them have a lot of parameters because they are just for checking whether the action is idle, move, pick up, stand, and whatever. Instead of using all of them as booleans, I choose to use names, which saves a lot of room and easier to code. The state is just what state the character should be in right now. The lie down state was just changed to revive. That's kind of different. I'll explain that later. The if loop meaning that if the current flipbook should keep looping. For example, the idle and move, they should constantly be looping over and over. And for the attack animation, should just happen once, so it's no loop. The new direction means while in this current action, should the player be accepting new direction inputs. For example, attack, pick up, they all should be just facing whatever their direction that they're doing right now. But while they're moving, they can change new direction. When they're idle, they can, I guess, change new movement to walk and stuff. The set current action. This is all the fields that we previously given. At first, need to check that if any action is currently playing. If any action is playing, then we can't give it a new action because it's still playing an attack animation, unless it's the performing is false. That's not currently performing any action. The state, which checks if the currently is dead. If it's dead, it should also not receive any actions. And then it should reach the set field and process action. Set field is setting all the fields we give to all the current fields, such as the action name, the state, performing or not, looping the flipbox, branching, changing the direction if it's available or not. The process action actually processes the relative actions, which is over here, and I'll get to that part later when I talk about the hit system. When any action animation is playing, after they finish, it should proc the on finish playing sprite. If it's a non-loopable flipbook, then it should be finished at one stage, and if it's finished, it should set the performing to false, as meaning it's no longer performing anymore, setting the state to default, and saying set move again to itself. So when the current action finishes, it goes back to the either idle state or move and state if there's an action stack. The event tick system, which is every tick, you should check the HP of the player and choose the corresponding flipbooks to play based on the current action enum. So what I have here is all the flipbooks are currently saved in different maps having different animations. For example, the idle animation considers north, south, east, and west idle animations, and the attack have the corresponding attack animations. So when it gets to here, it switches. For example, let's say idle animation. Then it goes to the sprite, set the flipbook of what's flipbook. Idle flipbook gets the current direction and find the corresponding flipbook of that current direction. Since all the flipbooks is mapped to key is the direction enum or name, and the value is the actual flipbook of that direction. Now let's get back to the play action system. So when we play action, it checks out what currently is the action. So it checks current action. If it's attack action, then we do relative things for the attack. But right now, our game can only attack. It has the pickup animation, but the pickup animation doesn't trigger any events. As you can see here, that the can hit character, there's a map called can hit characters. It's a map containing all the characters it can currently hit. This is decided on the block over here, which is the hit boolean. As you can see, the characters have 4 boxes, up, down, left, and right. These are all 4 hit boxes for each of the characters. For over here, that on component begin overlap, we have north, south, east, and west for all the different hitboxes. And when it overlaps, when anything overlaps them, it should call the register hit direction, which is the actor, the other component, give it a direction, north, and on-off. The on-off means that if it should be added to the map, and the off means it should be removed from the map. So on component end overlap means the actor has left this box, and it should just remove it. So the register hit direction once that receives an input, it casts the character. I need to make sure that the character it's not himself, and the boxes that's checking is also not the hitboxes of each other. So the only thing true, which is any other character's hitbox. I mean, your hitbox has touched any other character's sprite capsule. And based on the on-off, it should either add or remove the characters from the candidate character map. And the candidate character consists of a map of the object of the other sprite and the direction of the other sprite. We need a direction because when we check all the characters we can hit, we have to first go into a for loop. For all the characters that's in the map, it needs to check if it's the direction of the character is the direction of you facing right now. For example, if someone's behind you, you're hitting up, you're hitting above you, hitting north, and someone's in your south hitbox. It still gets added to the hitbox thing, but it shouldn't be applied damage to it because it's not facing the same direction. If it is facing the same direction, it takes the damage. First, I forgot to mention, the process action plays the effect and play the action. The play action is just what we mentioned here, and the play effect is based on what effects the character does. It should have a relative attack sound and a pickup sound. Once we know that the actors can take damage, we'll go into the health system. So the event tick here, we actually check HP every single tick to update the HP of the characters. First, the check HP should check if the character just died. Because this isn't an event tick, but we only need to make him die just once. How do I do that is, I check the current state is not dead, but the HP is at a critical state. That means at this second, we know that the game hasn't set him to dead, but this is the time we need to set him dead. It gets the player character, and if it's the same as this current actor we're at right now, it should decide whether it should die or kill. Die doesn't really necessarily mean die, it just means that he's in the down state, which can be revived because he's the main character, of course. The kill is kind of different. The kill is actually adding the CC point, which is the main objective of the game. Getting your CC about to full wins and 0 losers, but different characters have different controls of that CC amount. Some characters give you CC, some characters actually reduce CC. So you need to watch out. Place the relevant death sound and destroy the actor from the game. Well, the die thing is different. It uses the set field. The set field is actually an instant animation. Instead of checking for if it's playing, is it not, it ignores all of that. It's just when you call the set field, it should just perform whatever animation you set to. In this case, we have lie down, and it should just instantly make the character fall over and lose relative CC points. What we have here is something I changed to. Before, our aim was to make the program regain health over time, but since I've done the check HP in a event tick, and apparently adding delays really screws up the program, so I had to change that idea to make you have to spam spacebar to regain HP, because that adds more gameplay into it. Because other than everyone getting the same time to revive up, this is actually making it more kind of competitive. The more spam, the faster that you spam the spacebar, the more HP you get, and when your HP gets to full, it sets the field to make you stand up immediately. First, it checks if it's not dead. If it's not dead, then it can get health. Otherwise, he'll just keep getting health. Calculate the amount of health he should be getting. If his health is full, then he should stand up. And this is the parent class of all the characters we have in the game so far. Over here is just setting the AIs, which the main character won't be used, but it's pretty much the same as the movements deck, but the AIs just won't press multiple keys at once, thus we don't need to make the game look smooth. And AIs can only attack right now. What I forgot to mention is that the characters, actually I did explain, I think. So now let's look at the security guard, which is our main protagonist. It has a spawner class and a security guard class. The spawner class is actually not necessarily anymore because we thought if the character died, it needs to respawn back at a spawn point. But we changed the concept into if he's dead, he's down, and he's spamming spacebar revives him. So there's only one character on the game technically, but we still went with the spawner anyway to separate the looks from the other actors. The security guard is not much because mostly it's all the important methods implemented in the parent class. So on character creation, it should call the parent begin play, gets the player controller, possesses the character, sets the HUD widget, and adds a viewport. So it has the player HUD. What it also should do is the pause menu, because you're playing as the main character. You're able to pause the game. It checks if the pause menu is already open. It shouldn't add another one. When the pause menu open, it should set input to UI mode only, shows the mouse, and set the game state to pause, and plays the relative sound. The widget already actually have the resume game, and which that then resumes back into the game. The normal and the drunk character are the other two AIs. What they have is over here is just overriding the methods, but I realized I don't need to override the method. All I need to do is just literally change the CC bounty variable, which this character actually loses CC. So if we kill him, we actually lose CC amounts instead of gaining. And the test AI is just getting a random bunch of numbers to match a different random movement inputs, because I don't really have time to go through all the AI specific stuff. The drunk characters have 3 variations, which is kind of the same. The only difference is that they have different delay timers and action timers. But the difference is that the drunk people can attack and can apply damage to anyone within its range. Because they are drunk, they don't really know who are they hitting, so they actually damage everyone. And they also can damage the normal type, which why is that we want to destroy them fast as possible, because if they kill the normal type, we'll be losing CC, and we don't want that to happen. Over here, we don't need to overwrite anything because every character dies. When they die, they gain CC point on default, so there's nothing we need to overwrite here. The main menu widget actually consists of 3 panels. Well, 3 different boxes. One is the default box we see, like is the main menu, which if I show over here, should have a start level, open options window, select level, and quit. The start level and quit is relatively straightforward. If it's quit, play sound effect, delay, and quitting the game. Start level starts level 1. The options window and the select window is just changing the visibility of different panels to have different options popping up for the user to choose. The options panel have resolution setting, which changes the screen size. The select level have 4 levels that you can select from, that each of them goes to corresponding levels, and remove this widget from the parent. The main menu window, which is a return that both of the panels can call to return back to the main menu, which is just showing the visibility back again. The HUD menu consists of the CC bar and the health bar. As you can see, for the health bar, it's in the player's health, so we need to get player character, getting the character's health, while the CC is actually in the game mode itself, so we need to get the game mode and cast that to the not so accurate security guard game mode, and getting the CC there. The main game mode of our game is let's see the blueprints. The blueprint is just has a CC field and it has a current level. The current level tracks on which level it's on right now, so we can use it to advance the next level. It's an int. For example, if we're currently level 0, the next level will be plussing 1 to it would be level 1, and plussing that to it would be level 2. That's how we advance the next level. And the CC is just keeping an overall of CC, that if the CC, we use it for other classes. If the CC is full, we should proc this event. If the CC is null, we should proc another event. For the level blueprints, it's just, there's actually nothing in there. It's just when the level begins, play this music, and the music is on a loop. And here is the pause menu. It also has a back to main menu button and a resume game button, which hides in the input mode to game only, and hide the mouse because we're playing the game, and remove from random. That's the reverse from the previous pause. And other than the tile map, tile set creation, and all the collision box creation, for example, like this, every single tile that's blue here, I've added a collision tile, making sure that the character shouldn't be walking into this manually. And other than this, there's nothing more for me to say. Thank you very much.